Alien dragon struck by a powerful lightning and left for dead until a human mechanic saved it. The storm came out of nowhere. On the shattered plains of Tyran 7, lightning rarely visited more than once a year. But this time, the sky cracked open like a torn curtain, pouring down rain in jagged bolts of blue-white fire. Rogan had just finished tightening the last bolt on the rusted crawler engine when he saw it. Far across the scorched valley, something massive falling from the clouds with a thundering crack. It struck the ground like a meteor. Dust and debris flew in a halo around the impact. Rogan cursed and squinted through his visor. "Not another piece of orbital junk," he muttered. "I'm off duty." But curiosity and a tug in his chest pulled him toward the wreckage. The trek wasn't easy. His crawler sputtered on the soaked terrain, wheels sliding and coughing black smoke. But eventually, he reached the crater. Still steaming, the soil blackened and glassy. He stopped short. It wasn't wreckage. It was a living creature. A dragon, unmistakably alien. Slender, serpentine, with fractured wings like metallic sails. It's shimmering. Scale-like armor flickered weakly as if its bioluminescence had dimmed. Blue ichor oozed from a gaping wound on its flank. One of its forelimbs twitched. It had been struck by lightning and left to die. Rogan slowly approached. His gut told him to turn back. Even half dead, a beast like this could tear a human apart. But the dragon didn't move, didn't even growl. Instead, it whimpered. A sound so soft, so lost, Rogan's heart twisted. "Damn it," he muttered, and dropped to one knee beside the beast. He got to work. He wasn't a doctor. He was a mechanic. But flesh and machine weren't so different. He knew burns. He knew trauma. And he knew how to keep things running. The dragon had a metallic core along its spine. Biotech, maybe. Rogan didn't ask questions. He patched what he could. Cleaned the burns. Injected stabilizers. When the creature groaned in pain, he murmured softly, "You're okay, big guy. I'm not going to let you die out here." At one point, the dragon's eye cracked open, silver and gold, swirling like a storm. It stared at him, not with fear, but confusion and trust. "Yeah," Rogan said quietly. "I didn't expect this either." It took 3 days before the dragon could even lift its head. By then, Rogan had parked his crawler nearby and built a makeshift shelter out of tarps and power cells. He brought food, whatever protein packs he had, and water. The dragon didn't eat at first. It only watched him, observed his movements, memorized his scent. On the 4th day, it accepted a bowl of warm broth, lapping at it awkwardly with a long, metallic tongue. Its wings fluttered, damaged but healing. Its scales began to glow again, faintly. "You're a stubborn one," Rogan said with a half-smile. The dragon rumbled in reply, a vibration more than sound. And then, "Thank you." Rogan jerked upright. "What the hell? Who said that?" "I did." The voice echoed not in his ears, but in his mind. Deep resonant. "You patched my flesh. You kept my core from failing. You gave me life." Rogan stared at the dragon. "You can talk." "Only through mind speak. It takes much energy. I am called Vorik." "Well, Vorik," Rogan exhaled, kneeling beside him. "You scared the hell out of me." "I did not mean to fall." "Voriks," I shimmered. "The storm was not natural. I was hunted. They used a pulse spear. The lightning was drawn to my bloodline. My kin left me, fearing I would slow them." Rogan's brows furrowed. "Your own kind left you behind? They feared death. And exile. I was struck down and discarded. A long silence stretched between them, filled only by the wind and distant thunder. Rogan placed a hand on the dragon's warm, metallic scales. "You're not alone anymore." Weeks passed. Vorik healed, his wound sealed by time, nanites, and Rogan's patchwork cybertech. In return, the dragon helped around the camp, using his wings to shield the mechanic from sandstorms, carrying supplies in his claws, even melting scrap with his internal furnace. They became something like partners. Sometimes, late at night, Vorik would speak of his world, the floating continents of Asari, the sky-hunting dragons, the betrayal that led him here. Sometimes, Rogan would share his story, how he was left behind on Tyran 7 after the last mining crew pulled out, how he survived by fixing old junk and keeping machines alive. I guess we both know what it feels like to be abandoned, Rogan once said. Vorik lowered his head beside the humans. But now we are not. The peace didn't last. One morning, while Rogan was sorting power cells, Vorik suddenly snapped his head skyward. They returned. A streak of fire tore across the sky. 3 dragons, sleek in silver, their wings crackling with energy, descended onto the plains. Vorik tensed, wings spreading protectively in front of Rogan. The lead dragon snarled. You live, Vorik? Impossible. You left me to die, Kashar. Vorik's voice thundered in Rogan's mind. You were weak. You endangered the migration. You dishonored our kin. And yet I rise. Vorik bared his fangs. Because a human mended what my own blood discarded. Kashar's gaze flicked to Rogan. Disgust radiated from his mind voice. You align with this creature? Rogan stepped forward, defiant. He has more honor than any of you. The second dragon sneered. Let us finish what the storm could not. They launched. Vorik roared, surging upward, wings blazing with renewed strength. Rogan dove for cover, heart hammering. The sky exploded in fire and lightning. But this time, Vorik wasn't alone. The battle was fierce. Kashar and his kin struck with brutal precision, their arcs of energy searing the sky. But Vorik danced through their strikes, bolstered by purpose, by loyalty. He wasn't just fighting for his life anymore. He was fighting for Rogan. And when the final blow came, when Vorik slammed Kashar into ground with a bellow that shook the canyons, it was with the fury of a soul reborn. The surviving dragons fled, broken and scattered. Vorik stood tall, bloody but unbowed. Rogan ran to him, face pale. You okay? Now I am. Months passed, and though Vorik could have left, returned to the stars, or sought new skies, he stayed. Rogan rebuilt his home into something larger, stronger. He added a perch. Vorik brought in metals from the mountains. They created machines together, half organic, half synthetic. Wonders the universe had never seen. Together, they weren't man and beast. They were kin, bound by lightning, forged by survival. And neither would ever be abandoned again.